Ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing objective weakness, right, on the Bitcoin charts right now. And I don't take it lightly when I say that word. I understand that everything on this YouTube channel is subjective, in my opinion, to a certain extent. But I think the sheer quantity of very, very clear bearish indicators makes it an objective truth that the medium term is weak. Does that reflect on the long term? The answer is no, not really. However, there is a long-term type correction trend that we should be seeing at some point over the next 6 months or so. We'll look into that. That could be very, very major actually. But the medium term is looking weak. We've got a lot of charts to look into that regard. And we're also looking into a lot of ETF news and information about the recent delays and Ethereum ETF application by BlackRock and the future of ETFs on Bitcoin and what it will do to the price action. Specifically, where is the price going next? That's the main topic. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. All right, guys, before we get into today's content, let's check out the exclusive promotion we have with the Bitget exchange right now. For the next 13 days into the 28th of November, we have a trading volume, not really competition, but gifts, rewards. So if you reach 5 million trading volume, you get an Apple Watch, 20 million is an iPhone, 50 million is a MacBook, an iPhone, and a headset, and then 200 million is a Rolex. I believe it's 20 people can get the Apple Watch, 10 people for the iPhone, 5 for the Apple family, and then 1 for the Rolex. So go ahead and trade on Bitget, use my referral link. Sign up using my referral link, get on Bitget, trade, and if you reach those volume targets, which are actually not particularly hard to reach, the 5 million, for example, you will get those rewards sent to you in person. So that's pretty interesting. Check that out if you're interested. Also, Bingx exchange is a similar promotion right now. Global non-KYC exchange, 500,000 USD trading competition. So check both those things out in the links below, and let's get into the content. So guys, we're only going to be looking at 4 charts today. The Bitcoin daily chart, the Bitcoin dominance chart. We'll look at this weekly chart here, which shows a trend of correction before the bull market and when that correction will occur. And then also we'll look at the yearly candle chart. So this is each candle is representing 1 year, and it's a very simplified way of looking at 4-year cycle. We'll then got various kind of news articles to look at in regards to ETFs. So not a very long video today, very concise and to the point, but I will get to a point and I will tell you the best way to react to this market situation in my opinion. So obviously the big thing today is the ETF news. There is an ETF decision being made today. Hashdex has already been delayed. I believe we're waiting on Franklin Bitcoin ETF. Potentially that could be delayed as well. I think it's probably more likely than not it will be delayed, but it is worth noting that we do have another one, Global X Bitcoin Trust, the 21st. So quite a few kind of decisions to be made, 2 decisions to be made over the next 4 days. So keep an eye out for that. If you're a short-term trader, if you're using high leverage, for example, you can expect a degree of volatility to come out of nowhere. For example, when we did see the Hashdex Bitcoin ETF delayed, we actually saw quite a pump in the price action. If we go to the hourly chart, for example, on the same hour that it was delayed, we actually started moving upwards quite rapidly. We've come right back downwards. It's been an interesting kind of messy structure on Bitcoin, really. I mean, like, what even is this at this point? You know, massive green candle, massive red candle, right back down. It's just very strange formations here on Bitcoin all around. It has been for a little while, but those ETF decisions are on the way. I do believe we'll just see more delays. I don't really believe, and I think it's the consensus of the market, generally speaking, that we won't be seeing Bitcoin ETFs approved or denied until January. I mean, the actual decision, if we look at the BlackRock ETF, for example, BlackRock is expecting a final deadline on the 10th of January 2024. Now, the thing about BlackRock is BlackRock doesn't apply for ETFs if they think they're going to get denied. They've applied for over 500 in the past, and they've only been rejected one singular time. And also, yesterday, BlackRock actually went ahead, this is fresh news, and filed for Ethereum ETF as well. So guys, you know, this is not, BlackRock's the biggest hedge fund in the world, okay? They're not going to be one to apply for an ETF if they think it's going to get denied. The same stories with Vanguard. These are not people who play around and waste their time, all right? They know for a fact these things will be approved at probably a 95% certainty. So I believe that it is very, very, very likely, right? And I believe it's stupid to think it's not. It's very, very, very likely that ETFs will be approved in January. Again, the deadline is for 10th of January. 10th of January, we're looking at this pink line on the screen right now. We'll bring that back in a second. But ultimately, over the next 4 days, we do still have a couple more ETF decisions to be made. And so, you know, if we do see irrationalities in the price action, you know, dramatically and suddenly, that's probably because of the ETFs, and that's unpredictable, unfortunately. That's just how it is. But overall, it's really January that we're going to look at these big ETFs start to get approved, like BlackRock, like Vanguard. These are the big ones that are really going to do a lot to the price action. We know for a fact that ETFs are a big deal for Bitcoin because when we saw the fake ETF approval, you might not remember this, but I'll explain it to you if you don't. We saw a fake rumor of an ETF approval over here on the 16th or 17th of October, and in the matter of 10 minutes, we saw the price, literally 10 minutes, by the way, I was watching it live, we saw the price pump from 27K all the way up to 30K. So, it's not something that can be joked around about. This is a very, very real thing. It's a very, very real thing that kept Bitcoin alive, basically, and stable during this entire 7-month range between 32K and 24.5K. It's really the ETF news that allowed us to find these two bottoms, that allowed us to reject 2 times. It was the uncertainty around it that led us to consolidate for that period of time and see very, very low volatility. It's the ETF narrative that is driving Bitcoin to the upside, and so it would not be surprising at all to see Bitcoin pump massively on an ETF approval, even though it could already be priced into the market. It could have been priced into the market over here as well, and we still moved massively in a 10-minute period on a rumor. So, I think when it comes to guessing whether it's priced in or not, it's actually very, very difficult to say. Potentially, who knows? It's just guessing. It's a guessing game. But I would argue that there's no more reason to believe that the ETF was priced in here than there is to believe it's priced in up here, and we still saw the reaction over here quite dramatically. There's been no developments really, other than ever since then. So I don't think necessarily this move upwards is fully due to ETFs being priced in, quote unquote. It could just be normal market directional move. We always have expected, and we always have every single time moved up at this point in the market cycle. So it's unsurprising. I think to attribute that whole move to ETFs is probably a little bit irrational, a little bit pessimistic. But yeah, cool. Of course, the ETFs have been a part of it. But really, the big decision is going to be coming in January, most likely. As for short term, I'm not going to bother looking at short term on Bitcoin. It's a mess. I'm just being honest with you. It's a bloody mess. There's really nothing to look at. There's no structures forming. There's nothing. It's just a mess. What I can look at is the medium term. And the medium term is representing massive exhaustion. Volume is descending. RSI on the daily chart, for example, rejected from this red line, which we haven't broken above since basically back here in 2017. We've been rejected from it consistently ever since then. Rejected from that red line. We also went down and we actually rejected from this yellow ascending support line. Ascending support line on the RSI stemming back from August 2023. We've gone down, resistance support flip, and we're going down probably further from it. I would not be surprised at all if Bitcoin rejects and sees an actual correction from here, especially considering the zone that we are going to correct from as of right now. I don't have a chart available, but this red box, okay, this red box is our major macro resistance at the moment. Our previous macro resistance was 32K. Right now, we are very clearly in a range between 32K and 39K-ish, 38.5K-ish. It depends exactly where you draw it, but that's the reality. And we've come up, and without any breaks, without any hesitation, without any actual correction, we've come straight up above 32K, breached all the way up to the upside, and tested this macro range. Again, as I said, I would not be surprised if we see a substantial correction. We already have seen a substantial correction. I was already correct in that. For example, I was predicting a correction from this price region up here to a retest of this yellow ascending support line. That's exactly what we saw. We retested the yellow support line as well over here. I do not necessarily recommend taking short positions until we break this yellow ascending support line. I think that's a necessary requirement. But as of right now, as I said, I'm not going to be focusing too much on short term. It's a mess, as you can see. It really doesn't give us anything to work with at all. But the fact of the matter is, objectively speaking, this is not my opinion, this is not subjective, this is not my prediction. Objectively speaking, the medium-term TA is very weak. It's exhausted, okay? The price realistically should see a correction. Whether we see that or not is up to the charts, but the objective reality, there's no way around this, is descending volume and upwards trend, rejection from a 6-year-long RSI resistance, breakdown from a 4-month-long RSI support. Those are objectively true things that have occurred, and there's no getting around that. So yes, the short-term TA is bearish. Do not be surprised if Bitcoin sees a correction from here. With that said, Bitcoin dominance is on support, but given the fact that the overall structure itself, and by the way, Bitcoin dominance going up is good for Bitcoin, going down is bad for Bitcoin, obviously. The overall structure itself is something resembling an ascending channel formation. Given the fact that we're on support here is not really a massive deal. The fact of the matter is it's a bearish formation. Eventually we should break down, correct from it, and then go upwards from there. But that just supports the fact that most likely we'll see some sort of correction here. on Bitcoin, you know, and again, it's not my opinion, it's just what the charts say. If we don't see that correction, at this point, it wouldn't even surprise me, given the fact that the charts have had absolutely no real effect on what Bitcoin does over the last 8 months. I mean, if you speak to any analyst, if you know anything about the charts yourself, you can speak to the fact that the Bitcoin short-term price movements have been very, very, very strange. And again, that's probably due to all the attention on the market, due to ETFs, also the manipulation that comes with 4-year cycle. But overall, charts are looking exhausted at the moment. And everyone will agree with that if they have any degree of intellectual honesty. I do also want to make very clear, just because I think the charts are short-term and medium-term bearish, it doesn't mean I'm bearish on Bitcoin. I'm not bearish on Bitcoin. I'm long-term bullish on Bitcoin. I am of the belief that Bitcoin will never go below this green box again, okay? Unless the ETF is denied. Sparing that, I do not believe Bitcoin will drop below 30K ever again, okay? Or at least in this cycle, I should say, because ever again is a bit of an exacerbated claim, but I do not believe we'll do it in this cycle, unless the ETFs are denied. Very important to note. So obviously I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I'm just being realistic about the medium-term price action. Bitcoin dominance is not looking particularly good, obviously, as I said. I also want to note that, you know, seeing a correction of some sort here or anywhere before the halving, realistically, is not something that should be threatening to the Bitcoin structure at all. We have trends on Bitcoin. We have these 3 major horizontal support lines on Bitcoin throughout previous cycles, 1 per cycle. It's kind of a level that holds up Bitcoin for support during the bull market, and for the bear market holds resistance, right? It's happened every single time, each of the 3 times. This time it happened at 32K. In the past, it's happened at price levels like, let's take a look, 6K, and also down here at 300. And what you can see is that when we break above these yellow lines after the bear market, we form an ascending RSI support line. And it's not until we break that ascending RSI support line in the weekly chart that we see a substantial correction. When we do break it, we see 50% correction, okay? And we saw a 50% correction over here as well in 2019. COVID drop doesn't count, so 50% correction down until December 2019. So basically, what I'm telling you is this. I'm telling you that there is a trend that in each cycle, we have this horizontal yellow line, okay, and we form, after we break that line, an ascending support line, and it's when we break that ascending support line that we see the final correction before the bull market, okay? Now, as of right now, we haven't broken the ascending support line yet. In fact, we're very far away from doing so, but it wouldn't be surprising if eventually we do come down and test it and break the downside and see a significant correction for that reason. But that doesn't need to happen right now. Okay, what we could see is a medium-term correction on Bitcoin that brings us down to the line itself, and then a bounce, another move upwards on Bitcoin, and then a correction, you know, at the start or in the middle of next year. You know, there's no specific time which it needs to happen, but I do expect it to happen at some point. So don't be scared if we see some sort of correction on Bitcoin is the general gist of it. It's not something to be concerned about, especially when you're looking at 4-year cycle from a 1-year candles perspective. It's a very oversimplified chart, but it's oversimplified for a reason. I think it needs to be oversimplified because if you're looking at the 4-year cycle, what do you see? You see 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the first cycle. Okay, first one is green, red, green, red. 1, 2, 3, 4. Green, red, and then 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, green, red, green, and next year should be green, okay? So basically the same pattern over and over again. All right, that's what I'm saying. There's the same pattern with these candles over and over again. And what we see is that when the red candle occurs, which is the bear market candle, we see the following green candle, okay, be not as tall as the red candle. All right, so bull market, bear market, the year after the bear market, the green candle is about half the size of the red candle. Bull market, bear market, the year after green is about half the size of a red candle. Again, bull market, okay, sorry, wrong one. Bull market, bear market. The green one is about half the size of the red candle. That's where we are right now. It's on track. It looks fine. The cyclical structure is intact. If we want to look at the 4-year cycle from a different, more intricate perspective, a more, nuanced perspective, we can look at my actual 4-year cycle chart. And that is the chart I'm showing you on the screen right now. On this chart, I have 5 separate date ranges, which you can see in the writing on the top left of the screen, and they are all color-coded to each kind of date range measurement here. 5 separate date range trends, all pointing towards a bottom in November 2022, which we already saw, and all pointing towards a top in October 2025, which we should see in the future. The 4-year cycle is a very real thing, and we are very much on track with it. So again, I want to make something very clear, and you guys know this about me by now. My long-term trajectory on Bitcoin has been upwards since November 2022. I predicted the bottom in that price region. Our first buys were in the high 17K, low 18K regions. We spoke about the Q4 bottom in 2022 since November 2021. We've been ahead of the ball for a long period of time. The long term for us has always been bullish. I've never doubted myself on that. I will say that the short term, medium term is looking weak. That's just the reality. It's objectively true. It's not even my opinion. And I don't say that lightly because I understand that everything I say in this channel is my opinion. But I think when it comes to things like objectively true things like ascending channel formations or something resembling a descending volume and upwards trend, breaking down from 4-month long RSI support lines, things like that, rejecting from RSI resistance lines that we haven't broken above for 6 years, it gets to a point where it's past the point of subjective. It's just objectively true that there should be some weakness in the short and medium term. And if there's not, that is just subject to rationalizing the chart. Even with that said, I don't recommend anything because it's my opinion and I don't dictate what you do, but I personally will not be taking short positions at the moment until we break this uptrending yellow line, even given the fact that we have this exhaustive TA. So guys, that's my opinion. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please check out the VIP group on Telegram. You can see the VIP information and results group on the screen right now. Payment information, what you actually get, information about the group itself, 14-day free trial, membership information, and then our PDF with all of our trading results with an 80.5% win rate. All of that is in the description below if you want to trade altcoins on Telegram with me and make money on altcoins, especially going into the bull market next year. Let's do it. We're doing very, very well on there. As I said, 80% win rate. Don't miss out. Get on the VIP group. And then also Crypto Academy, if you want to learn how to trade for yourself, okay, in a course, university style format. You might be finding it hard to learn how to trade for YouTube and stuff like that. This is why we give you a structured format. 10 units, each unit covering a different topic, each mapped in a specific order so you can learn in the most effective way possible. We've got slideshows, we've got videos, we've got worksheets. So every kind of learner that is out there, whether it be visual, verbal, whether it be theoretical learner, we have you covered in that regard. So check out this course if you're interested. The email address is on the website. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll catch you tomorrow. I'll potentially be doing a Benjamin Cohen based video tomorrow. See you then. Cheers.